So today, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done since the last stream. And for anybody that hasn't watched the last stream, we're doing, probably as the title says, we're developing a game and go. But we've made some progress. We started off as like a one file project that was just really kind of gross. And we started a refactor that's been very boring, and our last stream was a very unproductive attempt at that refactor, but we've made productive efforts since. So we're going to talk a little bit about the refactor, where we're at so far, and then we're probably going to, I think the next thing is like we're going to have a weapon of the day segment. We're going to create a new weapon, and Andrew is going to inspire the weapon or give us inspiration for the weapon. So, maybe it'll be something like a world-ending weapon, or it can't be a cannon that shoots elves because I already did that.
I mean, I'm still liking the idea of a staff shooting pizza slices.
All we have to do is draw a pizza slice sprite, and we could probably do that today, actually. That'd be kind of cool. So maybe we'll do a staff that shoots pizza slices. We thought that would be like a priest class for healing. So that'll be like the second thing we do, and then the third thing we didn't get. So we have a lot of things before this is like even close to like a kind of a playable game. But maybe like create an NPC, have NPC interactions, maybe some enemy spawn logic. We still have our in progress of breaking code into modules, but that was so boring last time. I don't think we're going to probably stream that code.
Very unproductive.
Yeah, and we didn't get far because we were trying to figure out like how we wanted to make the modules work. So without further ado, I guess we'll go into like what the project looks like now, because it used to just be a main.go. Oh, I added a README. That's probably the biggest change I made. But yeah, we have a README. It probably won't be up to date very quickly. But main.go used to be 1,000 lines, and now it's 640. So I'm like 40% of the way done with the refactor, in my opinion, because I feel like main.go should probably just be like this main game loop, right? And maybe these three functions, input, update, render, might be implemented here, but I don't even know about those. It might be like game.input, update, game.render, But yeah, so we've got most of the structural logic out. What I mean by that is like literally the go structs. So an enemy is a struct, and I'll go ahead and show you this directory here. So we have like enemy, and we broke it out into a module. So structs.enemy, structs.player. I actually ended up making point a struct, even though it feels more like a utility struct, but I made it its own. Projectile, which is like the main component of the combat engine. And sprite, which is the visual element of every actor, which would be like player, enemy, and then the weapon class. So, we broke out our structs. One thing that kind of kicked off the need for the module creation was that I started creating a bunch of weapons because it's really fun to implement weapons, and I was like, we can't like keep copying and pasting this code, so if we could have like an armory directory where we just have almost configuration for each weapon, it'd be great. So like each of these return a weapon. You have like bow shooter, and the bow shooter.go, it just returns a weapon. This is like the weapon config, more or less.
And this is the sword that shoots bows, right?
Yeah, it's swords.bowshooter.
All right.
And I'll show what that looks like, because that's probably really confusing if you haven't seen it. But here's the bow shooter. It's classy.
Very fancy.
It's like a dad joke in the form of a sword.
God.
Yeah, so I think I like this. It's kind of an improvement from copying. I mean, it's still kind of like, the same code, but that's how configuration looks, so get over it. That's the armory directory. And then draw2d. I think draw2d might be the parent directory for like the mapping. When I say mapping, like the actual world map logic, where we take like 4 tile maps. I might try to find a more sophisticated way to have this under draw2d. But other than that, the biggest change left to be made is finding a way for structs to interact with engines. And I'm kind of thinking of introducing, so I haven't talked about engines, but these are just like, if structs are nouns, engines are verbs. No, because methods are verbs. Engines are just more responsible for like doing the things. Structs are more defining how the nouns of the game operate. But I want to add like a director kind of concept that lets structs interact with engines, so there's not like a direct interaction between the two because of dependency management and I just think it'd be a cool component architecture. And then the game module is really just like really game level centric stuff, not like game like this game specific, not so much, but like you have frames, windows, and then I have a utils class because I don't want like an engine.utils and I don't want a struct.utils, so utils will be under game.
All right.
Just out of desire from what I want. So, but that's like a super high level over where we're at with the refactor.